live, apparently.
Are we?
Yes.
We're live. Yes.
We're live.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello. It's Trevor,
And Suzie.
your favourite What the Historians.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And welcome to this little Patreon exclusive bonus just for you, our legion of Patreon fan.
We do love you.
We do.
Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate your support, honestly. Thank you.
And if Brett and Andre, if you do see this, please let me know if you want me to do anything extra for you with the new Patreon tiers, since you're now paying a lot more than you have to get everything. So, I don't want you guys to feel that you're being ripped off, okay? Honestly, please, we love you guys.
Yeah, and then if anyone wants to come and join them, please do. It's fun.
But I haven't joined them. They won't see this yet.
They won't see this yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
They only see this if they've joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't say anything else. This is all going to be you now.
Okay. It's all good. It's all good. We can say what we like right now. We can, we can drop F-bombs and S-bombs and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Really want to, yeah.
Yes. Don't I always?
Yeah, I usually edit those out of the final product. For these three. So, yes, we're going to be here doing our exclusive Halloween episode for 2021.
Yes, right. We will be definitely doing that.
We
So
will.
we've got some doozies.
Oh, don't we always?
Oh, boy.
Don't we always? So, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to the actual waffle bit for everyone?
Yes, we shall.
We should.
We shall.
should.
I'm making up new words now. Yeah, I've gone from not saying anything to making up new words.
Making up words is great. It's another bonus that the Patreons get.
Nobody understands. I don't understand. How the hell is anyone else meant to fucking understand?
I'm sure that on
No.
some level.
Nice burp, Nick.
Hopefully too much of the background noise won't come through, because an almighty burp came from the other side of the studio door.
Burping from the other side.
Woo!
And you get to hear me sing badly.
Indeed.
That wasn't my singing voice, I promise.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Let's move on to our everyone's here.
Everyone's here. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I've got to fix up my hair. Oh my lord, it's
Just
beating
leave
me
your
up.
hair alone.
I can't.
Remember, it's
I
a
can't.
mirror image.
I can't. It's hurting me. It's hurting me for me. Okay. Right, I'm done with it.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so pause and then. Okay, we'll waffle about something. Okay. Hi everyone, we're back.
Hello.
Yes, we are, and we're back because it's almost that spooky time of the year.
That they celebrate in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yes,
Halloween,
Halloween.
All Hallows Eve, Samhain. But we celebrate down here, Beltane. Well, I do anyway.
I'll celebrate whatever. Really. It's
As long as there's coffee and beer.
yeah. Look, you give me coffee, you give me beer. I'm pretty happy.
He's a happy little Vegemite.
Yeah. Easily pleased.
Love it. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So shall we move on with our What the Halloween for 2021?
We shall. We shall. And because it is What the Halloween, these stories are the ones we specifically keep for the more spookier time for the Northern Hemisphere. I get it. I know.
Yeah.
We're in the Southern Hemisphere.
But
But
it's-
Halloween is celebrated pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and frankly,
It's not really by me.
look, as long as people are having fun and aren't hurting anybody else, especially over these past couple of years, have fun however you like.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's-
That's exactly right. We've had a rough couple of years, haven't we,
Yeah.
everyone?
Indeed.
We have. But so, yeah, go and have fun.
Indeed.
And so, yeah, these are the more sadder / spookier ones.
Mhm. More of which on the other side of our opening theme.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Beep. Beep. Just beep that whole bit out.
What the history. Don't worry, Patreons, I'll put the actual theme song in there.
I hope so, because that was horrible.
Not my real singing voice.
No.
As far as you know.
Here you go. Oh, no, it's definitely not his real singing voice. I've heard it live, and he's actually pretty good. And I'm not just saying that because he's sitting next to me.
That's right. Okay, cool. Back to everyone? Yeah, back to everyone. Okay. Hello and welcome to What the History.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. This time doing our special What the Halloween episode for 2021.
That's right.
I am Trevor Holland and I'm joined by
Suzie Holland.
And I'll just do a quick upfront. There is some content warning with this particular episode, as often is with a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So there's talk of domestic violence and murder.
From his.
Yeah, so what I'll do, though, is I'll put timestamps in the description so that if you want to skip over that bit, it's going to be easy for you, okay? Good deal.
Exactly right. We here at What the History are responsible.
Indeed. Okay. Well, Suzie, shall we get rolling with your, What the Halloween and a bit?
What the Halloween and a bit. Okay. All right, here's mine. So, mine is a bit icky. So turn it off if you don't want to hear it.
or listen to this before letting kids listen to it.
Yeah, don't let your kids listen to this one. Okay. Remember, the 5th of November begins an old English rhyme. But how many of us know why we should commemorate? Oh, dear. Fuck. We started already.
F-bomb already.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'll start this again. Okay. Remember, the 5th of November begins an old English rhyme. But how Fuck, I can't even get through this one. Remember that sounds really ridiculous. I'll scrap all that.
It's easy to edit.
Okay, thanks
Patreon
God.
Exclusives.
Thank God for editing.
Yes.
Fuck around. Thank God for editing. Okay. Remember, the 5th of November begins an old English rhyme. But how many of us know why we should remember this particular date? What happened to commemorate this day? And why do people in the United Kingdom and in some other Commonwealth countries, but not Australia, still celebrate it? For the answers, I need to take you back 418 years to England. When Protestant Queen Elizabeth I died on the 24th of March 1603, her Catholic subjects, who had for many years been persecuted for their faith, needed to practice in secret, hoped that the next monarch would be more tolerant to their beliefs and they would come out of hiding. To put this into context, a Catholic could be fined heavily, imprisoned or executed if they were caught practicing their religion. Enter James I of Scotland. Oh, he was James I of England. He was James VI of Scotland. Oh, God. Okay, I'll start that bit again. Enter James VI of England and James I of Scotland, son of Mary, Queen of Scots, who after Elizabeth's death and many arguments later over the succession, that's why. Never mind.
We do read these beforehand.
I do read these before then. Yeah, I read this a couple of weeks ago, so forgive me. Enter James of Scotland. Oh, fuck. These poor Patreons.
We're giving them the full
Jesus, sorry. Enter James I of Scotland, son of Mary, Queen of Scots, who after Elizabeth's death and many arguments later over the succession also became King James VI of England. No. That's not right.
James VI of Scotland became James I.
Yeah, I know. I gotta edit this whole thing out.
Of course I'll edit this whole
edit the whole thing out, please. Okay.
So James VI. James I.
Yeah, I know. I got.
Want me to change that now?
Yeah,
Okay.
James VI of Scotland.
Live editing, people.
Live editing. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Gosh.
Here we go. It happens.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. Enter James VI of Scotland, son of Mary Queen of Scots, who after Elizabeth's death and many arguments later over the succession, also became King James I of England. James succeeded the Scottish throne at the tender age of 1 after the abdication of Mary in 1567. Catholic Mary never saw her son again, and he was raised and educated as a Protestant, much to Mary's disgust. The Catholics were hoping to install a Catholic monarch, the Infanta Isabella, daughter of Philip II of Spain. However, Robert Cecil, Elizabeth's Secretary of State, had been holding talks with James about ascending the throne. A source mentions that a gentleman by the name of Everard Digby, a source mentions that a gentleman by the name of Everard Digby, God. A source mentions that a gentleman by the name of Everard Digby, a Catholic, had travelled to Scotland to visit with James several times before his accession to the English throne to obtain a promise of Catholic religious tolerance, which was given. Everard's name would soon be a part of history. So when James came to the throne, Catholics had very high hopes about their future, armed with James's promise. However, nothing changed and the promise was unfulfilled, with the laws still being set firmly against Catholics. A group of very angry, oh gosh, it's when you get the Anglicans plus a Catholic. It's just a mess. A group of very angry Catholic men decided something needed to be done permanently with this new Protestant king, and for good measure his wife Queen Anne and sons Henry and Charles, and so began the famous gunpowder plot of 1605. But firstly, I need to backtrack to York in 1570. Enter Guy Fawkes to the story. Guy was raised a Protestant. However, when his father died, his mother remarried, and young Guy fell under the religious teachings of his stepfather, a Catholic. However, when I was in York in 2018, I did a tour and However, when I was in York in 2018, I did a tour and our guy said, oh God.
This guy said that guy.
Oh gosh. However, when I was in York in 2018, I can't do this bit. Okay. Whew. However, when I was in York in 2018, I did a tour and our guide said that Guy became a Catholic due to the treatment of Catholics by the Protestants and was so disgusted that he became a Catholic. Whichever way Guy became a Catholic, he joined the Catholic Spanish army in 1592, who were fighting the Protestant Dutch army. By 1603, Guy had been promoted to captain and was well learned in the art of gunpowder. He also began using the Italian name of Guido. In 1604, I don't know if that's the way you pronounce his name yet.
We apologize for any pronunciation.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think Guido. Oh, fuck, I should have...
Just stick with Guido. We can apologize for pronunciation. We often do. I know I do.
No, I don't. I research this before I do it.
It's okay. Just relax.
Guido then petitioned James Deep
breath. We're good.
Would it be Guido?
I mean, it's not the Guido.
Can you stop recording?
No, we can't stop recording because we're going live right now.
All right, I really apologize. Guido then petitioned Spain's Philip III to make war against England on James on the grounds of Catholicism. However, Philip didn't want war and declined Guido's petition. In 1604, a discontented Guido met... Oh, I've got to stop.
Well, just call him Guy.
Guy, okay.
He's known as Guy.
All right. Okay, sorry, guys, about Guy. In 1604, a discontented Guy met Thomas Winter, a fellow disgruntled English Catholic, while on campaign in Flanders. Thomas was also there to drum up Catholic support from the Spanish government. Thomas had also been told about an idea of regicide against King James by Robert Catesby, a man who had gone down in history as the creator of the gunpowder plot. Robert had also been in Spain to obtain Catholic support from the government in 1602 and was even imprisoned upon the death of Queen Elizabeth as a just-in-case measure after a failed rebellion in 1601 by the Earl of Essex against Robert Cecil. Guy didn't need much convincing about this plan, thought it was a good idea, and his fate was sealed. For 18 months, the men plotted and planned their idea with fellow conspirators: Thomas Winter's older brother Robert, Thomas Percy, one of King James's bodyguards, brothers John and Christopher Wright, whose sister Martha was married to Thomas Percy, and who were also jailed with Robert Catesby upon the death of Queen Elizabeth and also involved in the 1601 rebellion. Francis Tresham, who was a cousin of Robert Catesby, who also involved in the failed 1601 rebellion, Robert Keyes, who looked after the gunpowder at Thomas Percy's house, John Grant, who was married to Dorothy, the sister of the Winter brothers, Thomas Bates, Robert Catesby's loyal servant, and Ambrose Rookwood, who was deemed useful in the plot as he had horses and wealth. These 13 men, all devout Catholics with regicide on their minds, decided that the 5th of November would be the perfect date. Not only was the king going to open Parliament with his family, the nobles and the Houses of Lords and Commons all present, the conspirators could get rid of them all in one go and install King James's daughter, the 9-year-old Princess Elizabeth, as a puppet queen upon the throne, with them acting as protectors, marrying her into a suitable Catholic family after they had kidnapped her. The plans began to swing into action to store gunpowder under the House of Lords in order to blow it up on the 5th of November to coincide with the opening of Parliament. It was an opportunity too perfect to miss. Thomas Percy used his wealth to rent a house in Westminster next to the House of Lords, and then in 1605 rented the cellar space under the House of Lords. Gunpowder was being stored at this property for the fateful act. When and where was all set. What about the how? Re-enter Guy Fawkes with his knowledge of gunpowder, and he was tasked with lighting the gunpowder at the opportune time. He assumed the name of John Johnson, servant of Thomas Percy, and with Robert Winter helped to keep the gunpowder under the Houses of Lords, all 36 barrels. With Thomas Percy's house being next door to the House of Lords, it was easy to roll the barrel from this house to next door and hide them all ready to go. All seemed to be in place until the 26th of November. All seemed to be in place until the 26th of October, when a letter was sent to the Catholic Lord Monteagle by an anonymous source, via his servant Thomas Ward. A source said Francis Tresham, who attempted to stop the plot, was reluctantly involved and who was a brother. A source says Francis Tresham, who attempted to stop the plot, was reluctantly involved and who he was.
It's so much, yeah.
I know, but there's a lot in this.
I know.
A source says Francis Tresham, who attempted to stop the plot, was reluctantly involved and he was a brother-in-law or cousin of Lord Monteagle. He asked him not to attend Parliament on the 5th of November, saying in part, and I quote, "Therefore I would advise you and I quote, "Therefore I would advise you as you tender your life to devise some excuse to shift your attendance at this Parliament, for God and man hath conquered." Therefore I would advise you as you tender your life to devise some excuse to shift your attendance at this Parliament, for God and man hath concurred to punish the wickedness of this time, end quote, and asking Lord Monteagle to burn the letter immediately upon reading it. The letter was instead passed to Robert Cecil and the King. Francis was questioned about this letter on November the 1st, but denied being the sender. The men were faced with a dilemma: abandon the plan or to keep going, and they opted to keep the plan. King James ordered a search of the basement, and Sir Thomas Knibbet, a justice of the peace, found Guy in the basement with the barrels of gunpowder at around midnight on the 4th/5th of November. He was quickly taken into custody, but refused to answer to questioning, an act that amused King James for Guy's bravado. Guy gave his name as John Johnson, servant to Thomas Percy. The conspirators, knowing something had gone wrong, escaped to the Midlands. Guy, under torture, had plenty to say, named all his co-conspirators, and the apprehension of all was proclaimed by the government. Robert Catesby attempted to gather Catholic support, stole horses from Warwick Castle, and was soon able to Robert Catesby attempted to gather Catholic support, stole horses from Warwick Castle, and were able to obtain 50 Catholics to the cause. However, this soon failed as well. On the 8th of November, the government had caught up with the conspirators at Holbeach House near Kingswoodford in Staffordshire, with Robert Catesby, Thomas Percy, John and Christopher Wright all being killed in the shootout. John Grant was blinded by gunpowder and taken back to London for trial. Ambrose Rookwood and Thomas Winter were captured and transported to London for trial. Sir Everard Digby, Thomas Bates, Robert Keyes, and Francis Tresham were soon located and arrested. All surviving conspirators were found guilty and sentenced to a traitor's execution of being hung, drawn, and quartered. The executions took place on the 30th and 31st of January 1606 in the Old Palace Yard, Westminster. Guy watched in horror as his friends were executed, and as the rope was being tied around his neck, he made a running leap, breaking his neck. The heads were placed on pikes around Westminster as a stark warning to other people with regicide on their minds. The only surviving conspirator who didn't meet the executioner was Francis Tresham, dying in the Tower of London on the 23rd of December 1605 of natural causes. The number of Catholic priests were also implicated with the plot. A number of Catholic priests were also being implicated in the plot, with one, Henry Garnet, also being found guilty and executed on March 28th. On the 21st of January 1606, Parliament resumed, and King James, overjoyed that the plot was found out, asked his men to build a huge bonfire in celebration, enacted the Thanksgiving Act, and every year on the 5th of November, bonfires and effigies of Guy are burnt with children asking for a penny for the Guy, as a celebration of how King James and his family cheated death. The night is now called Guy Fawkes Night. The gunpowder plot was an added disaster to English Catholics, giving the label of traitor to all Catholics, and was only through the grace of the Protestant God that the royal family was spared from the plot. Instead, by the... I have to start that again.
It's okay. Just take a moment. Okay, we're not rushing.
The gunpowder plot was an added disaster for English Catholics, giving the label of traitor to all Catholics, and it was thought that only through the grace of the Protestant God that the royal family was spared from the plot, instead of by the letter to Lord Monteagle and the House of Lords cellar being searched as a result. 1606 saw new laws being passed against Catholics, an oath that went against the Pope and disallowed Catholics to vote. Failure to take the oath could result in death. Many Catholic families simply retreated into the shadows, not wanting to give anyone an excuse to trouble them. To this day, Houses of Parliament are still searched prior to the opening of Parliament by the Yeomen of the Guard, and in case anyone else has the idea to commit the act. I will leave you now with the full rhyme about the 5th of November. Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes Guy, 'twas his intent to blow up king and parliament. 70 barrels were laid below to prove old England's overthrow. By God's mercy he was catched with a darkened lantern and burning match. So holla boys, let the bells ring. Holla boys, God save the king. And what shall we do with him? Burn him. And that is my What the History.
Oh boy.
I'm really sorry about the pronunciations. It could be Guido, it could be Guido, it could be Guido, it could be and
yeah,
really, who knows how his name was pronounced back in 1605. It could have been pronounced something different. And I'm really, really, really sorry, because this one was really important to me to get it out. I am not Catholic, nor am I Protestant. I don't have any beliefs in that way, but it did make me feel really, really sad.
That's perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we try to pronounce everything as was pronounced back then, I still remember trying to read that old Thomas the Tank Engine book that was written in, like, what was it? The original Thomas the Tank Engine story? Remember we had that one?
Yeah.
And it was so hard to read, and that was only written like 60 odd years ago.
Yes, I think it was
Like that.
It was a lovely book, though. It
Yeah.
was really lovely.
Yeah, it's around here somewhere, but that's beside the point. So yes,
Thank you for staying with me on that one.
all those names and connections and cross sections. Oh,
okay, and I like to apologise as well. I'm also battling a sinus issue at the moment, which is really hurting me to talk a lot.
Wow.
But I wanted to get this out. You know,
Indeed.
This is more important than.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, it's important to me to get it all.
Yes.
To get it out and let everyone know.
Well, how about we let you stop for a bit?
Thank you.
I can tell you mine.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's fine. Now, hang on, I've lost my page.
Where's your thing?
Where's my page? Where is it? There it is. Okay. All right. First up, I'm going to apologize. I know that the first couple of times we did this, I did some pretty horrific murder stories and then made an effort to step away from major gruesomeness, and I know that still had mixed results. Hello, Ghostwatch. So, yes, this time around, the tale does involve a bit more murder, but it's got a bit of a very big what the Halloween twist. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I am going to put a content warning on this one due to murder and mention of domestic violence. I'm going to try to keep it as brief as I can, but again, check out the timestamps down below. I'll give you another warning before I get to that bit so that you can easily skip past it if you need to. Okay? Excellent. Here we go with a strange tale. Here we go with a strange tale of the Greenbrier Ghost. In the month of October 1896, in the county of Greenbrier, West Virginia, USA, 23-year-old Alva Zona Heister, sometimes referred to as Zona Heister Shoe, met the new employee at the local blacksmith, 37-year-old Edward Trout Shoe. Alva was considered pretty attractive, and Edward has been described as a handsome, black-haired, blue-eyed charmer. Things moved quickly from there, very, very quickly. Alva and Edward were married just 6 weeks later, despite the disapproval of Edward by Alva's mother, Mary Jane Heister. All seemed fine, and life went on, at least until January 1897. Edward sent a local boy, Andy Jones, to his home to run an errand and see if Alva needed anything. Upon his arrival at the Shoe residence, Andy made a horrifying discovery. Alva was lying dead at the base of the stairs, face down, one arm stretched out, the other tucked beneath her. The distraught boy ran to his mother, who passed the terrible news to Edward before rushing to find the local doctor. When Dr. Knapp arrived on the scene, he found that not only had Edward got there before him, the apparently distraught man had also cleaned up Alva's body and dressed her in her high-necked wedding dress and veil.
Whoa.
The doctor tried to examine the body, but was hampered by Edward, who was cradling her neck, crying and responding violently anytime Dr. Knapp got too close to him. The doctor completed the examination as best he could, finally declaring the cause of death as, quote, everlasting faint, end quote. He later added possible, quote again, complications from pregnancy, end quote, after admitting he had been treating Alva for, quote, female trouble, end quote. Great job, doctor. Alva's funeral was held soon after, with Edward making quite the impression on the mourners, and not an entirely positive one. He was reported as acting very obsessively towards Alva, particularly regarding her head and neck. He wrapped her neck in a scarf that he insisted was her favourite before placing a startling number of pillows around her head and neck. When asked about this, he insisted he wanted her to rest comfortably. Even though those present found his actions very strange, they largely put it down to his grief. There was one person, however, who suspected something more: Alva's mother. Despite having no evidence, Mary strongly believed that Edward had something more to do with Alva's death. Not knowing what else to do, she prayed for an answer every night for weeks. Then, according to Mary, 1 month after the funeral, Alva's ghost appeared before her 4 nights in a row and told her what happened on that fateful day back in January. Okay, now this is where you might want to use the timestamps in the description, okay, if you want to skip over this next bit. So let me give you a moment. Here goes. Mary claimed Alva told her that Edward had been an abusive husband, getting more and more violent. The night before her body was discovered, he had come home and was furious as he believed, quote, she didn't have no meat cooked for supper, end quote. After the confrontation, Edward proceeded to strangle Alva, snapping her neck in his fury. Mary took her tale to the local prosecutor, John Preston, who was initially very sceptical. However, given the very limited examination of the body and Edward's subsequent behaviour, he eventually agreed to look into it further. He did not have to look far. Preston found that Edward had quite the history of violence, including prison time for theft and assaults, as well as 2 prior marriages, one of which ended with his wife dying under mysterious circumstances. There were also reports from the local community that Edward was saying things like, quote, no one would ever prove I killed a Zona, end quote. Preston sought and was given permission to exhume Alva's body for a more thorough examination. The examination occurred on 22nd of February 1897. The 3 doctors undertaking the autopsy found bruising consistent with strangling on Alva's neck and confirmed the 1st and 2nd vertebrae in her neck were broken and that her windpipe had been crushed. Edward was arrested on suspicion of murder. At the trial, Preston tried to avoid Mary's tale of Alva's ghostly visits, fearing it would be dismissed at best as hearsay or at worst severely impact the credibility of his case. Edward's lawyer, however, decided it would be their best hope and proceeded to cross-examine Mary extensively about her supernatural experience. The full exchange, and it is quite a full exchange, is quoted in a couple of the attached references. But to summarise, Mary gave a very full account of the information provided by her recently deceased daughter, up to and including a detailed description of her injuries and murder. It is reported she was much more compelling than Edward, who apparently did not leave a good impression on the jury with his own testimony. The jury deliberated for just over an hour before declaring Edward guilty of murder in the first degree. Edward was sentenced to life imprisonment and died from illness while in jail just 3 years later. While there is no record of the jury's discussion, it is generally considered the trial of Edward Trout Shue is the only time a ghost's testimony was officially considered by the US justice system, and that it also contributed to a guilty verdict. What the Halloween?
Indeed. That's pretty cool.
That's just...
I'm really, really glad that he got that Elva's ghost visited. So, yay.
Yay. There we go.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us for What the Halloween.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. And after I wrote my What the History or What the Halloween, I chanced upon a 3-part series called Gunpowder, starring Kit Harington playing Robert Catesby. And I also found out that Kit is a descendant of Robert Catesby as well. So he was playing his ancestor, and I think that's really cool.
And that is
And
pretty
it was
cool.
actually quite accurate.
That is very,
And
very
so I was,
cool.
yeah, it's very gory.
Mm.
It's oh my god, I had to walk out with some of the scenes because I don't do gore very well.
Do you want me to try to include a link to that in the references?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
By the way, we got references.
We do.
We got all the references.
Always, we do all the references, and we're pretty good at referencing and researching.
Yeah, indeed. So you can check the podcast description for all our references, or you can head to the Rufus Project Presents homepage at rufusproject.com for all our previous episodes and all our previous references and all the things,
all the fun stuff,
all the Rufus Project things as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Pretty cool. Or please, if you really do like this, join our Patreon, the Rufus Project Presents Patreon, at patreon.com/RufusProject.
Please do. Come and join. It is fun.
It is good. It's a whole pile of extra content.
Oh, yeah.
You get to see live recordings of our recordings. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that'll do.
You get early access to the final nice edited podcasts, and a whole pile of extra video content.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
That's right. And I believe Gunpowder was on Amazon Prime.
That's okay.
I think it was.
Well,
I don't think it was on Netflix.
Because who knows where it is around the world. Somebody in Venezuela may have it on a different service.
That's right.
If you are listening to this from Venezuela, hi! Cool. Yeah, so we shall return.
We shall.
We shall, with some more bizarre bits of history to make you say...
What the history.
What the history. We already said that together. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, you didn't.
I didn't. There we go. That sort of day. Bye!
Bye, thank you.
Hello again, patrons.
Hi.
This is just for you.
Oh, that was harrowing. Oh,
yeah,
God. I was in tears for some of that.
Yeah, I understand.
Because it is. Mine was really, I'm not Catholic, like I said, or Protestant. But just the history between Catholics and Protestants around the world. So when Mary I came to the throne, she really didn't like Protestants because she was Catholic, sent a lot of them to be burnt at the stake at Smithfield. And then Queen Elizabeth came in. She was a Protestant, so she didn't like Catholics. And,
it's just...
And then you got Spain that were burning Jews at the stake as well. So it's a lot of... Religious intolerance really gets my goat.
It's just...
As long as people aren't hurting each other and hurting themselves, please, live and let live.
Just the history of this sort of stuff is absolutely harrowing. And
it's horrendous.
It's just terrible that there's still this high level of intolerance between people of different beliefs and cultures, even today. I mean, for God's sakes, people, it's simple. There's one simple rule to lead a happy life with everybody else on this planet.
And what is it, Trev?
Don't be a fucking dick.
Oh, he put the fucking in.
I did. Because I feel very passionately about this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's just, just live and let live.
Yep.
Please.
That's
so many people. Yeah. So many people needlessly murdering and needlessly dying. And,
Yes.
Yeah, see, this is what we go through to bring you what the history. Some of it is pretty horrendous, and I do end up in tears from some of the stuff I have to research. But as I'm also my family's historian and genealogist, I have to be objective. And some things I've come across this week in my family history, I'm just going, objective. Please be objective.
So when we do the more serious stuff, the whole way done. Yeah, we like to stick to the more fun, lighthearted stuff because, it's just so hard to stay objective when you're talking about, terrible treatment and injustice and persecution and murder and bloody all that bullshit,
Yeah. See, but, we bring it because people need to know.
Yeah.
People need to know this is what happened. History is not all fun and games and, weird shit with rabbits and Napoleon.
Yeah.
that's one of my favorites. I love it.
Badges.
Or badges. You know, history is very bloody, and what people do to each other is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. So again, like,
so this is why we do it once a year.
And and we will be back with some more
weird shit. I love weird shit.
Mind you, I think my next one still has a bit of in it, but it's also, my next one's also very broad, I think, because it's a tale which has gone through a number of revisions over the years, and that was actually, it's a great tale.
Yeah.
It's a historical tale with some, anyway, you'll see.
Mine's interesting.
Yeah.
Mine's like
So yes.
Okay. All right. I've got to stop talking.
Sure. So I think we'll have a rest before we do our next hype or shade.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to be on that one.
Yeah, I did want to be on that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it.
Cool.
It's got people in it I like.
Cool. I think it's probably time to wrap up.
It's probably time to wrap up.
We're going to have some nums for lunch.
Yeah, I am really hungry, and I really want to have that chai latte that you bought me. Thank you.
Should be nice room temperature.
Should be nice room temperature, which is great because, this really doesn't like things.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
Now, why do I have to do this to us?